Mortal's quest for Vedic Soma, a mystery of Soma, war, memory, and the possibility of a gentler world. A wounded immortal searches for the lost cup of India by Ramakant Rai or Rama. About the author. Ramakant Rai or Rama is a corporate lawyer with nearly 2 decades of legal experience. He is a partner at Trilegal, a top-tier Indian law firm in New Delhi. The views expressed in this book are personal. Rama was born in a village in Bihar state in India and spent the first 15 years of his life there. He later studied at Raja Ramohan Roy Academy, Dehradun, St. Xavier's College, Ranchi and National Law Institute University, Bhopal. Apart from law, Rama has a deep interest in history, theology and philosophy. Author's note: this book began with a sense of injustice. I am a lawyer by training and by temperament. For nearly 2 decades, I have sat across tables from evidence, arguments, and competing claims of truth. I have learned, sometimes painfully, that the loudest voice in a room is not always the most honest one. And I have learned that when powerful interests declare something dead, it is worth asking, who benefits from that death? Vedic Soma was declared extinct in the 19th century. Western scholars arriving in India with colonial authority and classificatory ambition looked at the Rig Veda's most sacred drink and concluded that the plant behind it had been lost. The mystery was sealed. The case was closed. Then, in the 20th and 21st centuries, something curious happened. New theories arrived, mostly from the West, claiming to have solved the mystery. The most popular of these placed Amanita muscaria at the center of the Rig Veda, the red and white mushroom, the fly agaric, a fungus deeply embedded in Siberian shamanic tradition, in Norse and Germanic folk memory, and perhaps most famously in the iconography of Santa Claus and European winter festivals. I do not say this to mock those theories. Scholarship deserves engagement, not dismissal. But I say it as a lawyer. Where is the Indian evidence? Where is the folk memory? Where is the festival? Where is the ritual continuity? Where is the grandmother in a village in Bihar or Rajasthan who remembers gathering this mushroom for Shiva? Where is the sadhu, the poet, the local healer, the temple record, the regional name? I could not find them. And in law, as in history, absence of evidence, when evidence should reasonably exist, is itself a form of evidence. What I found instead was bhang everywhere, in Holi, in Shivratri, in the hands of sadhus, in the courtyards of Rajasthan, in the songs of Shiva, in the stone grinders of ordinary households. A plant sitting in plain sight, carrying living sacred memory, connected to India's most beloved god, accessible to the poorest person on the street, and yet somehow overlooked in favor of a mushroom associated with Santa Claus. To me, this looked less like discovery and more like appropriation. Soma was first declared extinct by colonial scholarship in the 19th century. It is now being redefined by Western psychedelic enthusiasm in the 21st century. In between, the living Indian tradition, bhang, Shiva, folk practice, festival memory, was treated as too ordinary, too rustic, too close to home to be the answer. This book is my attempt to ensure justice, justice for Soma, justice for the Vedas, justice for Bhang and the Indian cultural memory that preserved it, justice for the ordinary people who never stopped drinking from Shiva's cup, even when scholars told them the cup had been lost. The method I adopted is the method I know best. Evidence first, archaeology before mythology, inscription before assertion, living practice before imported theory, I call it an archaeology first approach. If a candidate plant did not leave a credible trace in India's material record, its ritual continuity, its language, its folk memory, or its cultural practice, then it does not deserve to define Soma, however fashionable it may be in Western psychedelic circles. This evidence based journey travels widely. It moves through Iran and the Avesta, through the Mitanni Treaty world, through Achaemenid inscriptions, through Buddhist archaeology, through the maritime world of South India, through the caste politics of Sanskrit, through the moral universe of Buddha and Asoka, and through the comparative theology of Shiva, Jesus, and Zarathustra. It is a long journey, but Soma is a large word and it deserves a large inquiry. Now, a word about Aswathama. I chose him as the narrator of this inquiry for two reasons, and both reasons are connected to the deepest questions the book asks. The first reason is immortality. We live in an age that is again dreaming of immortality. Silicon Valley billionaires fund longevity research. Geneticists speak of defeating death. Philosophers debate whether a life without end would be a blessing or a curse. Ashvathama, cursed to wander the earth deathless and wounded after the war of Kurukshetra, has already lived that question for thousands of years. He is not a symbol of immortality's romance, he is its witness. He knows what it costs to outlive every certainty you ever held. The second reason is justice, and this is the deeper one. Aswathama is a victim. His father was killed by a deliberate deception. He was cursed not for cowardice but for grief and rage, responses that in any other warrior might have been called honor. The victors wrote the story. Krishna's deception became divine strategy. Aswathama's retaliation became sin. The same act judged differently because power decided the verdict. This is precisely the lens the book needed. When we examine who declared Soma extinct, who now claims to have rediscovered it, who benefits from placing a Siberian mushroom at the heart of the Rig Veda, who gains when Indian folk memory is treated as inferior to Western academic theory, we are asking Aswathama's oldest question. Does right and wrong depend on power, or does it depend on evidence? Aswathama, the cursed immortal, the permanent outsider, the man whom history condemned while celebrating those who wronged him. He is perhaps better placed than any other narrator to examine how mythology is shaped by winners, how history is written by the powerful, and how the ordinary and the local are made to feel insufficient in the face of the exotic and the foreign. This book is his quest, and mine. It does not end with a single verdict. A good lawyer knows when the evidence permits a ranking but not a certainty. What it ends with is a method. Test every claim, follow the archaeology, honor the living tradition, suspect the fashionable answer, and never let any civilization, including your own, escape the discipline of evidence. The Soma should not be decided by fashion, fantasy, or colonial imagination. It must be tested, argued, and proved. That is what this book attempts. I hope you find it worth the journey. A note on narration. This audiobook is narrated in the author's own voice. The Sanskrit and Vedic terms you will hear throughout Aswathama, Sivratri, Kurukshetra, Hauma, Bhang, Dharma are pronounced as they are spoken in living Indian tradition, not as they are often rendered in Western academic pronunciation.